Welcome in to the Boardroom Podcast. I'm Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
I'm Ward 4 Alderman Chad Wicker. What's going on, Ben?
I tell you what, I think summer's just about here. What do you think?
Yeah, the air conditioners are humming, and it's summertime, baby.
The kids are at VBS.
That's right.
They're getting the slip and slides out every day. Water bills through the roof.
So
It's summertime, man.
yeah, YMCA summer camp. Different saxophone lessons going on at my house.
Saxophone, okay.
Yeah, he switched from the trombone to the saxophone.
Saxophone's pretty tough, from what I understand. I never played it myself, but
He's taken to it pretty good, but he's got a lesson today, and so he's excited about it. So
he got the Big Daddy bass saxophone, or
No,
he
we're
got a
the
smaller?
alto. We're the alto.
Okay, all right.
We're in the marching band, alto sax. So
Okay.
we 7th grade band, so we're trying that out. He had the trombone last year, and he was okay with the trombone, but my mother got him a saxophone for Christmas. She had found kind of secondhand, and he really liked that better, and started playing it, and actually sounded good. And so we talked to his band director, and they let him switch. So he switched out the trombone for the saxophone.
I had a short period of time. I think it was about a year. I played trombone. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
Year or two. Played the trombone in middle school. Just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's good to learn something. Good to learn an instrument.
Yeah, well,
I think it helps you with math too.
A lot of his buds are, they're in the band, and I think one guy plays the, you know about this stuff. I call it the bathroom, but I think it's called the bassoon.
The bassoon?
Bassoon, yeah.
Bassoon.
Bassoon.
Bassoon. It's a big black reed instrument.
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds really cool. It actually sounds really cool.
Well,
if
I
you
think
can play it well.
his buddy is pretty decent at it. I think he actually got picked for the 8th grade band as a 7th grader. So,
you know what I wish we could add to the march? I think it'd be good. What if we had some bagpipes?
That would
be.
Man, that's a good bagpipe guy.
But we're the Tigers. It doesn't really fit in.
Yeah.
Like if we were like the Shamrocks or something, that'd be cool. If you had
Irish,
if we were the Fighting Irish, that might be a cool thing. Like have a little bagpipe lead the team out on the field, a band out on the field or something. But oh well, that's
cover our. This will be the June 4th. Board of Alderman meeting. We're recording here on I think today's the 6th, 5th, 6th, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Busy time. Busy.
Early morning podcast.
Yeah, go and get it knocked out.
Knock her out. So we did have our meeting on Tuesday. It was a fairly short meeting, under 30 minutes, which is kind of irregular, but it's a busy month in the city in terms of conferences and trainings and some other things that people are kind of coming and going. So we'll hit some of the high points here. One thing, pretty cool, we recognized our water department. This is a pretty neat little story.
Yeah. Cleanest water in the state.
Cleanest water in the state. They and we definitely got to address Andrew Miller's comments because that was pretty funny. And I think people missed it.
He's supposed to be a preacher.
I know. Let's jump into it. For those of y'all who missed it, our public works department went down to a water conference more or less down in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and they were encouraged to bring a couple mason jars full of your local water for testing. They were going to test it and see who had the cleanest and best water in the state. Hernando ended up winning #1 best water in the state. We recognized our 2 water plant operators at the meeting, and just the phenomenal work they did. And then Alderman Miller said, "Well, you're down in Vicksburg, you got to make sure you grab the right mason jar. You don't want to get sideways or something like that." And I was like, "Man, where is this coming from?"
He's always good for a funny tidbit there.
He's a trip. I love it. But congratulations to those folks, because it is something that I think people in this area, I think we take it for granted. We got some of the best water in the country, I think. With the aquifer in Memphis area, and then I think we've got a lot of natural springs in Hernando area and DeSoto County, Tate County area. We're very fortunate.
Well, Ben, not just the water guys that work on the water, but the whole public works department. Mm-hmm. I mean, those guys kind of are the unsung heroes. A lot of times they don't get the recognition that maybe the police officers or the firemen or the paramedics get, but they are the ones who go out in the middle of the night when there's a water leak and repair that water leak, and pave the streets when you call in about a complaint. So that whole department is I think is really improved and doing a good job. So obviously, people probably want more roads paved and they want their water leak fixed faster. But I think for what they do and the amount of people they have, they do a tremendous job for us.
Well, and I've learned what's happened, over in the last 3 years of doing this job is that because I was kind of in the same position, like, what takes so long to get through these, water leak fixes, and sometimes they take a day, a full day's work. You got 3 or 4 men working on it, with excavators and doing all their work or whatever else. Well, while they're working 8 or 9 hours on one project, they get 5 more leaks called in.
Sure.
So it's constantly kind of playing from behind. I think in the future, the board's going to have to look at, how do we deal with this? Like, is it a head count thing? Is it, is there some sort of efficiency we can gain or productivity that we can gain in doing something a little differently, and have some serious discussions around it? Because I think it is, when you just got water bubbling up from a leak, that can't go on.
One thing that they've done, I think it started in the previous administration, has carried over to this, and with Lee is they're GPSing the coordinates for the water shutoffs and things like that, so they can get to those. They know where they're at, because kind of before that it was just like, over by the oak trees where the water shutoff is, or down the hill to the left. So now we're getting some GPS coordinates. They have that information. They can go out there and turn it out find the turn it off quicker, and help maybe prevent as much damage or get it fixed quicker.
But ultimately, the guys that do that work, they work very hard.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see them with shovels and holes that are 6-8 feet deep.
Down the ditch.
Trying to make things happen, trying to get your water back restored, and trying to, fix our system. So they're definitely hard-working bunch. Appreciate them very much. We also we accepted our fiscal year 22 audit. So, one thing
we got to tell everybody about an audit and what we do with that, and that's required by law, you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do like surface level, and then you can do like the really nerdy deep dive on it, because I think you know even more than I do about it. But, when the city applies for any kind of grants, we're trying to get money from MDOT, the state, any kind of programs like that, they ask to see your most current audit. Well, if your most current audit is 8 years old, guess what? You're probably not getting any grant money. You got to try to stay as updated as possible. So fiscal year 22 is the year that ended September of 2022. Fiscal year 23 is already, the audit for that one has already begun, and we should have it by the end of this year. The gap in trying to get caught up there was kind of created initially by the COVID pandemic, when, the city there's no explanation other than just either didn't have the people, or there was just not enough hours worked to get caught up on these audits from that. And so that's something that we kind of inherited, in our last few years, and have worked, diligently to, address the headcount issue, and then also get caught up. So, but we are in good standing in terms of, being able to receive grants and being able to work with other government agencies. But it has taken time to get caught up.
Yeah. So in Mississippi, you have the state auditor, which is Shad White. He's responsible for doing audits on all the state departments: Department of Transportation, Department of whatever, Department of Corrections. Counties and cities are required to do a yearly audit, but they don't have to go through the state auditor's office. They pay a private accounting firm, essentially, who we use is Gerald. I think they're out of Vicksburg or Corinth. I'm sorry, I think. And like you mentioned, there was an issue during COVID where it was taking a long time. The city, not just Hernando, but several cities got backed up. DeSoto County got backed up. And another problem too is that a lot of accounting firms are getting away from the government accounting, because it's a lot different than just regular accounting. But essentially we get this huge book, but the biggest things, it kind of gives us our net position on how much money we have, how much money we spent, how much money we brought in. It breaks that down. I think, Ben, you may help me with this. I think, don't we post this on our website?
Yeah.
On the city website. Again, by law, you have to have that completed and sent to the state auditor's office. So we do that. And you talk about your controls, how you prevent theft or embezzlement, things like that. This is a way to try to find that if you have that going on in the organization. Based on the report we got, there's no negative findings, no major issues. They're doing things according to what they call GAP, which is generally generally approved accounting practices. So
it's all, for the most part.
You might tell them
you mentioned the state auditor at one point.
Yeah,
let me tell you,
that's your buddy, man.
You want to? Well, we just know each other from back in the college day. You talk about a guy you don't want to mess around with. Just let's not mention his name too many times. He might be like Candyman and appear. Just we say his name too many times. He is somebody, man, that has really taken that job and elevated that position quite a bit to national relevancy. And the welfare scandal that he uncovered, that his office uncovered with Brett Favre of all people.
Yeah.
But in looking at the audit, one of the things that you look at is kind of like the net position of the city. That's one of the big financial indicators. Is the city trending in a positive direction or a negative direction? And in that fiscal year, the city increased its net position or positively increased its net position by about $222,000.
Yeah, so this is October 1 to September 22.
That's correct. So all that really means is that things are going in a positive direction by that amount of money, which is not a huge amount. It's about maybe 1%, 1.2% of the budget. So
we're not spending more money than we're taking in.
Correct.
Basically.
Correct. The city's sales tax continues to grow at a really good rate, and property tax continues to come in at a fairly consistent growth rate because there has been development in the city, and there's been positive growth in that area. But that net position means that the money is not being outspent at the rate that growth is occurring.
Right.
That's about as basic as you can put it. Now, would we love to see that number be higher? Absolutely. Yeah. Because we'd love to have more conservative decision-making made, have more money put aside, have more money left in the bank when the fiscal year ends. That's the other big thing that you see from this is that when the fiscal year ended, the city had around $3.5 million in the bank at that time. Now, it's sitting like that sounds like a lot of money, but the city doesn't really receive, other than sales tax, from October 1st until about the 1st of the next year, you don't really receive a whole lot of money outside of just sales tax.
Right.
So that's money the city has to survive off of, more or less.
And also, I think what's noting about this too, Ben, is this was the year that I think we saw a big increase in our property tax valuation. So we got our property taxes essentially went up because property was worth more, and so we saw a big hit in revenue.
And that came from the tax assessor's office.
It's not going to be, not going to be like that every year. So
and to be clear, that came from the evaluation change by the tax assessor's office, not necessarily anything from the city level.
There was no rate change, but obviously, if you have a piece of property and it's went up in value over the last 10. I think he's supposed to do that. We had him on the show. I can't remember. He's supposed to do that once every 10 years or something like that. And so he did it. He's been putting it off, and so you saw a slight bump in your property taxes, and that's indicated in this report. So we had a little more revenue than we probably were anticipating, and that's why you see that we said $3.5 million value there. So.
But when you really consider that, because a lot of people think, well, $3.5 million, what's that mean? Well, it's about a quarter of the city's. It's about a third. It's about a third of what it takes to pay payroll for an entire year. Yeah. Well, you got at least 3 or 4 months before property tax comes in, plus, sales tax revenue that's $400,000 to $500,000 a month. Then we're in a good financial position to continue to run the city without having to necessarily have any kind of tax anticipation loans or anything like that. Yeah. So,
and remember, we didn't do one in that particular year. We didn't do a tax anticipation loan.
No. So that's kind of the ups and downs from the audit there. Definitely good news there. We did have folks that live in Ward 6, you may have noticed over at Thousand Oaks and Heritage Cove, we had an EWP project that we've been working on there. We paid some bills on that. That was something that did not make the initial agenda. It was part of the amended agenda, but it was paying about $275,000 to Neil Schaefer for Southeastern Pipeline and Environmental Services.
According to Neil Schaefer, that's about 55% complete. and so it's about halfway there.
So y'all folks have probably seen that out there. A lot of a lot of trees cleared, a lot of white rock.
Hey, they broke my sidewalk. They better fix that before
in.
they leave.
Yeah, they that is something, if you have noticed right there in your gateway, kind of in the staging area that they used on the southern half of the gateway property there. There was some sidewalk that was busted up, and that'll be something they have to fix.
You better get on top of that, Ben.
I'm already on top of it, Chad.
I wouldn't put up with that.
They're not done with it. They're not done with the work yet. You don't want them to fix it and break it again. I wouldn't
put up with that Ward 4.
You want them to fix it and break it again? Come on, calm down. Do y'all not have any sidewalks in Ward 4? Is that what you're telling me? I don't know.
Not
Oh my
much,
gosh,
probably.
we got.
That's the old part of the city, man. It wasn't part of the.
If you want to come on a walk, come to
code.
Ward 6. That's what I think what the breaking news is. Let's talk about some actual breaking news.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you not want to?
Yeah, I think it's people.
Because
People
everything
know.
else is kind of.
This may be the first public statement about it.
It could be. Because a lot of this, I think some of this other stuff is just working on some drainage projects, and this other thing got tabled. So, all right. So, you know where McDonald's is?
This is
on
where,
Commerce Street.
So we're talking about the old location of Kroger's gas pumps.
Yeah, Taco Felix, great breakfast. I don't know if you've been there recently. Great breakfast, biscuits the size of your head.
Yeah,
delicious. If you get an omelet there,
you got to fight to get a parking spot in there on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and if you order an omelet, it's enough for your entire household.
Yeah, it's big.
They use 45 eggs in their omelets. Real big supporters of the egg community.
Are they local eggs?
I have no clue. I don't know. It's been a minute. I used to go there to get an egg white omelet when I was on my health journey, trying to get nice and healthy. And I would get a full egg white omelet there. And I asked them one day, I was like, so how many is in a full egg white omelet? And they said, well, probably about 12 eggs. Like 12 eggs in an omelet.
Grief.
It is truly.
I didn't realize they used that many. I know you were joking or whatever.
In a full omelet, they use 12 eggs. So
that's a carton of eggs, dude.
It is. And I'm sort of like, what? Omelets, $7.99. Y'all might need to consider
the price increase. My goodness.
Anyway, so you got Taco Felix right there. Then you have the road that goes up to the Kroger parking lot, and then there's this little grassy area between Taco Felix, that road, and McDonald's.
Yes.
Used to be the Kroger gas pumps. Now we've gotten plans submitted. The city's gotten plans submitted for a 2-bay commercial building that's going to go there. And our planning director let me know that that's going to be a Smoothie King that has a small little drive-through lane.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of similar to maybe Dunkin' Donuts. It's probably the closest.
Yeah.
And then next to it is a T-Mobile store.
Right.
So we already got an AT&T store in town. Got a Verizon store in town.
T-Mobile.
So I guess T-Mobile's jumping into the fray here.
Sure.
I've never had a Smoothie King before, much to my wife's surprise. I'd let her know last night about the Smoothie King.
The closest one's probably in Goodman Road, I think, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. It's I know that a lot of people want to have more local businesses locate to Hernando. And I'm on that train as well. I would definitely love to have a local business, local small business over a corporate business. But this is again something where you have two larger corporations that are wanting to put locations in Hernando on our main street there. Main Street is definitely, Commerce Street is very, very full at this point. I mean, I think that's probably one of the last green patches of grass to develop. It's not a very big patch of grass, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's coming. So if you're excited about smoothies, they're
I
coming.
remember back when Kroger, redid their store and moved the pumps. They had gotten pretty far down the line with another vendor, and I just thought that lot it's a weird shaped lot, and I think what ran the other vendor off that was interested in the lot was the signage, because the way our sign ordinance is, you can't really put a sign. There's no buffer there for a sign. So I think they'll have to put a sign. Those two businesses may not need a standalone monument sign.
Yeah, I don't know. I have not seen that part of it.
Yeah,
I think
they'll have to follow our design standards, and
correct.
I'm sure it'll look nice.
From what I understand, the original design was basically rejected, and it was kind of I think more in line with what their other stores look like, and it was kind of pushed back on to bring something that's maybe a little more in character with that area.
Sure.
Because it is, right there on that main street, there's nothing that really stands out in terms of like architecture or anything like that.
Right.
So it does need to be kind of, more in line. But yeah, we'll see what it looks like. If we get when we get the drawings or whatever, we can put it out there. But there's no decision that has to be made on the city side of it.
Yeah,
It's already a commercial zone property, so it's just kind of the news that this is coming.
And Ben is any traffic concerns you have about that, just send that to Ben. What is it, Alderman Ward 6?
That's it.
At
That's
Hernando?
Hernando.org.
There you go. Any traffic concerns that goes to him.
And look, Chad jokes about that because there's a lot of times when there's a new business, that's one of the immediate concerns is around traffic. You've got a 3-lane road that's going to be right beside it that goes up to Kroger that's already got a pretty good bit of traffic on it to begin with. So it's just going to be cycling those people in and out. I wonder how many people go to a Smoothie King every day.
I don't know.
50,
I mean, it's
100?
it's kind of like, people have their little pattern in the morning. They go, maybe go get gas at Kroger and they can swing in there and get a Smoothie King on the way to work or something. I don't know. But we've talked about this all the time. The role of government is not to decide what business goes where. Mm-hmm. We put in ordinances and design standards to try to, make sure things look nice and address some of the issues with traffic and things like that. That's really all we can do. We can't pick and choose what goes where and when and how.
And here's the other side. I'm not a T-Mobile customer myself. Yeah. There's probably some T-Mobile customers in Hernando that are going to be.
I've had the same cell phone number since I was 16.
That's frightening.
It's Bell South then.
Good Lord. Do you still have the same phone?
Huh?
You got
No, the first phone I got, Ben, was the the one that you had the, what was it called? The Nokia, like a brick. Mm-hmm. Man, that thing never had any problems.
It was a terrible phone. It worked, but it was a terrible phone. The people that have that, carrier probably will be excited to know,
sure.
Hey, if I got a problem, I can actually take it to a store and not have to leave town.
Yeah.
So that's always a positive. But we'll see what comes from it. But that is the newest businesses that are reportedly coming to Hernando. The other business, this is some enormous business news that may have some very, very small impacts for Hernando. But Elon Musk.
Oh,
you ever read about this?
I thought you were saying something about Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry.
No. That one's going to be. We're going to dedicate. We're going to dedicate whenever that happens. Whenever it happens, I'm not going to say if it happens. When it happens, because it's going to happen at some point. When it happens, we're dedicating at least an entire show to it because it will be a banner day for so many people.
Can we just get like a small one, like in Kroger or something, or
maybe even in the high school?
Yeah.
Last time I saw Dr. Heindel.
Yeah. Well, the one in Senatobia. Yeah, it's a legit.
I asked him. I said, "How'd you get this thing in the community college?" And we kind of talked about it. And I was like, "Well, I think we should just try to put one in the new high school. Just put one inside there."
I work down there now, so sometimes I'll call Shelby and then, hey, I want Chick-fil-A for dinner. I'll bring it home and I swing by there. And
I tell you what,
when school's out over there,
Chad,
it's
Chad, you're always looking for new business ideas.
Yeah.
You need to get you a van that brings Chick-fil-A up to Hernando.
Okay. All right.
And just deliver it to the,
just drop get the 30 count and just drop it off.
Call it Chad Dash or Chad Filet or whatever you want to call it. I think you got a deal there.
Yeah.
But no, Elon Musk is putting the largest supercomputer.
So I hadn't really had time. I've been busy. Tell me, what is the deal on that? Is that like legit? I mean, is that like $1 billion computer? Why did he put it in Memphis? I mean, has he said why?
So, no, he hasn't. So I'm going to go out on a limb and speculate because everybody likes speculation.
Distribution hub, I guess, is what.
So he's using the old Electrolux factory.
Oh, okay.
So if you're not familiar with that, it's kind of off Highway 61 before you get to President's Island and that sort of area. There's a Nucor steel plant right in there as well. You got access to the river. You're not far from sewage treatment and some of these other things because they're going to be using what's called gray water, which is treated sewer water. Okay, so gray water is going to be used to cool the supercomputer because it will overheat unless you cool it in some way. You can't just use air conditioning. And they estimate that it will take 1 million gallons a day to keep this thing cool, right? So you have to have access to gray water. You need probably, I would dare say cheap to very cheap land, which the Electrolux factory has been shut down for a few years now. It's just been empty. So it's probably at a deal.
Yeah.
And then, if you're going to be bringing in people from wherever it is, because this is essentially a startup for him.
Yeah.
You're bringing in people that are going to need housing and all this kind of stuff that needs to be somewhat affordable, whether they live in DeSoto County or wherever they live. You got data scientists and all these other kind of people, computer scientists. They're going to be able to find places to live in and around the, kind of the Memphis area. So it is, I think news reports have been saying it's going to be by the end of the year. This is basically a supercomputer that is the brain of the artificial intelligence for this startup. And so, it's for him, I don't think money really exists. It's just kind of like a fake thing.
I mean,
he's so wealthy that like, you don't know, if he says he's going to spend $1 billion on something, like, is that real money to him or what? I don't know.
Well, what he usually does is go get some bunch of investors. It's not his money anyway.
And he does, certainly can't go without saying I think it was 2021, he donated $50 million to St. Jude in a campaign to raise $200 million, kind of through some of the social media networks and all that stuff, which they accomplished.
That's big.
For an organization that takes, $1 to $2 million a day to keep that hospital up and running, that's big time money. So he's obviously shown investment in the past and interest in past and kind of this Memphis area. If you don't know who he is, I don't know that you could not know who he is, but Elon Musk is the owner of X, which used to be known as Twitter, SpaceX, Tesla. He's considered kind of one of these innovative minds, and he's worth like $200 billion or something ridiculous.
Yeah, kind of what you call it, eccentric.
Yeah, he's eccentric for sure. But it is kind of unknown at this time. It's new news. But at some point, there has to be some amount of trickle down effect to DeSoto County and possibly even Hernando, with people locating to the area to work. There.
Ben, I don't know if we ever talked about on this show, but there's a huge what they call a super site in Walls area that Energy owns. So maybe this will get some movement towards some kind of development there. I mean, that site's got a rail, it's got access to the river. I know that the Board of Supervisors have been in discussion back and forth over the last while about maybe a potential development there, but it's still, I think, in the air. But maybe with this coming, we've had the thing in Madison with the computer deal, the Amazon
Web Services.
Yeah. So maybe Mississippi.
Also,
maybe we can get on the map.
Well, this is the other part of it that I think in talking with the Mississippi Development Authority, they came and spoke with our local chamber not too long ago, and he mentioned the Marshall County site that is a Daimler Chrysler venture to do more electric vehicle batteries, in like the commercial sector. And he said that if that cools off for whatever reason, if they decide, if people just reject the idea of electric battery vehicles or whatever, they want to use these really large batteries as backups for the grid. So that, let's say for whatever reason, there's a power surge or it's really, really cold outside or really, really hot outside and you need additional energy, you would have these massive batteries to kind of back up the grid or to provide additional electricity when it's needed. Yeah. So it's almost like it's a backup plan for if the electric vehicles don't catch on as much as they think. I think their plan is to use companies like MLG&W, TVA Energy to be like, hey, you need power? We got these enormous batteries that can kind of back up your grid.
Yeah. So almost like a generator kind of deal.
Exactly. So there is kind of like there are backup plans and contingencies for these really large investments that are going on in Mississippi right now. And we say all that because while that isn't specific to Hernando.
Well, we had the AWG a couple of years ago. That was a big, they produce a lot of energy.
Right. Because it's not specific to Hernando, it's right around it. And there's people that have to work at these sites that are going to be looking for homes.
We're still a bedroom community. A lot of people don't work in Hernando that live in Hernando. They drive back to Memphis
And I guarantee you, the people that have new jobs that are going to be moving to these places, or maybe they're getting an upgrade in pay or whatever else, they're going to want their kids to go to. They're going to want their kids to go to good schools. They're going to want to live in a safe community, and can potentially locate to Hernando or Lewisburg or kind of the surrounding area.
You got the best school in the state coming up.
I mean, that's it. I mean, $100 million high school being built in Ward 6 right now. Good stuff going on. So lots of positivity, kind of for the area in terms of economic development. And what it could potentially mean for Hernando, we don't necessarily know just yet, but, definitely seems like there's a tide of economic development coming to the, kind of the Memphis metro area and North Mississippi area.
Sure.
Well, that's we didn't have as much from the meeting, but, kind of talked around some other things that have been going on.
Yeah.
What else you got going on this summer? You got some big plans coming up?
We got the MML convention at the end of June we'll go to. Other than that, playing a little golf, trying to stay cool.
Gotcha.
Maybe get a little vacation in at some point.
The first day of summer soccer got rained out.
Yeah.
So it started now. We've had some games. There's been some games played now, and we've got some more practices and things like that coming. And we'll have our team, the Sharks, will have our first game coming up next Monday. So we'll definitely circle back, let you know how soccer's going. I think we should either do a show at MML potentially.
We can bring the equipment.
Do a show down at MML down there in Biloxi, see who we can bring on, or maybe we can just wait till we get back. Either way, I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a plan, but we'll be down at MML later this month. The Mississippi Municipal League has its annual conference in Biloxi for a few days. I think Chad's getting. Are you getting
advanced certificate? An
advanced certificate. I'm getting my basic certificate. I'm catching up, trying to catch up with Chad. He's always a little bit ahead sometimes.
That's right. You remember? I'm glad that's recorded.
But we are. We've gotten those certifications from that group just in terms of training and becoming a certified municipal official. So. We're definitely going down there to spend time and growing in knowledge and whatnot for the taxpayers here in the great city of Hernando. But until next time, whether we're in Biloxi or we're here, I'm Ben Piper.
I'm Chad Wicker. Thank you for listening.